Hello and welcome to another weekly vlog. It is Monday morning, it is raining as you can perhaps see, and we are off to Rathlin Island to get rained on all day. It's just so frustrating because we had 4 weeks of blissful weather and it's done nothing but rain for like a week and a half. We're waiting on Darren, have to go get petrol as well. Sometime in his life Darren will be early and the world will be shocked. I'm going to do this in a separate vlog, so you will see the vlog up separate from the usual weekly watch. So yeah, I may check in later and tell you how it was. But yeah, hope you enjoy the separate vlog of Rathlin. Hello, it is Tuesday, the day after the puffin adventure. Very wet day, but it kept dry long enough for us to do a little bits that we wanted to do. This is something we haven't been looking forward to for like a week. It's a social worker visit to my mum's for the, I'm not sure if it's called a care needs assessment or a needs care assessment, to see what she says. I'm just hoping she's not gonna give false hope to my mum and try, oh well, we could do this from home, we could do that from home, because my dad's health's only getting worse and she can't be by herself for the length of time in a day that she's currently by herself. And she seems to think if my dad has a day where he's not really grumpy and bad tempered, that means things are better, when she's had weeks and weeks and weeks of them at each other's throats and then they have a day. But that very well could be my dad feeling a sense of, relief's the wrong word, but thinking that he's getting to the end of the work sort of thing. I don't know, but we shall see. I know they're both in a position at the minute where they're both accepting that that's probably the best decision. And I just don't want them putting her off her mindset, because it is the best decision. But I'll let you know afterwards. Basically, the main thing I'm waiting on them saying is, I went to all the trouble, because I've said this before, to arrange respite for her, and then when I had arranged it, she told me she'd changed her mind. Well, I think that's probably quite common amongst people that are worried about going into a care home and that have anxiety issues. Second time we put her in respite and just took her out after a day, yeah, because she was in a room next to someone that screamed all day and night, and I mean you could hear her from the other end of the home. It was so loud, and my mum was placed in that room next to her, and because her physical health isn't good, if she doesn't get sleep, basically at the end of a week we would have been taking her out, probably needing hospital care. It was that bad. And one of my main pet peeves was the fact that it was just after that bout of really bad anxiety. Well, she still had anxiety, but she wasn't right in the middle of it. She had been put on high dose diazepam, which basically is Valium, if like a clinical name for it. And it was really imperative that she receive it at particular times of the day, and they hadn't given her it. And because she does get confused, oh no, we gave her it. My mum had told me that she hadn't had it, and they tried to make out she didn't know what was happening.
As well.
And she wanted to go to the bathroom, so they took her to the bathroom, and I found out they sneaked her the tablet in the bathroom that they had previously said she had had. So when I heard that, my brain was saying, right, I've really been the one to push this to let my dad have a break, and if she comes out of this home a week after going in a worse state than when she went in, I'm going to feel responsible for that. So I'm waiting on her saying those two things, and I have to try to keep my temper. So let's see what happens. Let's see if we can manage it, because I don't think it will, because it takes quite a lot for me to do that, but if I get to the stage of losing my temper, then there generally isn't reeling back to a normal conversation, because I've just lost it at that stage and I don't want to talk to you anymore. And if I do, I'll say something I shouldn't and I'll shout. But I'm not an unreasonable person. I don't get like that without good reason. and it takes a lot of prodding of the, is it bear? Prodding the bear? To make me get like that. But when I get like that, I have a tendency to explode, which is why I feel like I should have been born with red hair. But I don't tantrum and lose my rag for no reason. I'm not that kind of person. I just, a dripping tap eventually causes overflow in me. And the situation with the care team and my mum has certainly been a dripping tap for quite some time. So, we shall see what happens. She's due at 2. It's now 1:20. I want to make sure I'm there before she gets there. So if I get there, we'll probably be there for about 25 to 2. I don't know if my dad has any intention of being there or not. I know my mum won't speak as freely if he is present, but I know Melinda will expect him to be present, so I don't know what's best, to be quite honest, because I really need her to be able to speak freely, and I don't feel she will because she feels that she's letting him down by complaining about him, if that makes sense. So, no idea where today's gonna go. Absolutely no idea. So we shall see what happens. I shall check in afterwards and let you know, if my temper's of such that I want to talk about it, how it went. Hello! It is terribly grey hair day. It is, what day is it? Thursday. Yeah. We are going to see Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1. Just waiting on Darren, as always. Need to go to the shop to pick up some contraband popcorn before we go. I've heard nothing but good reports about this movie. Everyone says it's fantastic. It's the best action film of the year, so I've got high hopes. And that stunt that Tom Cruise does in the advert, where he rides a motorbike off a cliff and then it turns into like almost like a skydive and he parachutes, is real. And Tom Cruise did do it himself, and I think it said that he had to do it 13 times to get the shot. He spent months training, as in not just like more than a year, like 13-14 months training to do both parts, so it had to be precisely timed. He's mad. The man's going to kill himself one of these days. But yeah, I've got high hopes. I will update you about the situation with the meeting with the social worker yesterday, but I want to do it when we're not driving, so I might do it when I get home later on. She gave us some more options. It looks like my mum's not looking at permanent nursing home at the minute, but like a temporary, like 2-month situation, and then something else after. So I'll talk to you about it when I'm not driving, when it's a bit quieter, because I'm very conscious when I edit a vlog. I don't think about it when I'm filming, but when I edit I'm very conscious that it's like 40 minutes of me talking in the car, which can't be very exciting. So yeah, I'll cut it off for now. It's nothing either of you can think that I need to, nothing new?
No.
Or neighbours, I don't know if I've talked about that yet, because I'm like 2 weeks behind editing. Our new neighbours are I don't think there's a, have you seen a man yet?
Nope.
So I think it's a single mum. When I say single mum, the kids are like adults. So it's a woman probably a similar age to us, a little bit older. Her son is, I would say, at most mid-20s, and the good thing is he's a metaler, he's into rock music. Darren's had a bit of a chat with him. I haven't talked to him yet, but I was coming out of the house and, you know, he smiled and said hello. He seems very sociable. He was talking to the man across the way as well. So of the family, he's the social one. He seems really nice.
He knows the girl at the centre of the Rammstein.
Yeah, if at all you're into rock or metal music, there's a big controversy at the minute around, you know what, I'm going to go into the shop and I'll tell you about it when I come back out, because I can't rush the situation with that. Right, so I've got our contraband popcorn, and something I don't understand is these shops, you know, like little, this is a mace, I don't know if they have maces outside of Ireland, it's like, what's the equivalent, like a Spar? Like a little garage place, which is usually much more expensive, but you know the popcorn that you get that's sweet and salted, it comes in a pink bag, I think it is a Tato. It's only £1 in there, and even in the supermarket.
Restaurant, that's why.
Supermarket's more expensive.
170 in most places, the same thing.
It's what?
170.
Well, I know it's 150. I saw it recently, but it's only £1 in there, and it's not like that place to be cheap.
No.
So £3 for 3 full bags of popcorn. You can take one out so I can show it. So show you what I mean. I don't know. Do they have these in England? This is Tato. Tato is a brand. So look at the size of that. There's my head in that. That'll give you an idea.
Oh, massive.
That's like a decent sized popcorn, and it's half sweet, half salted, and I think it's gluten free, isn't it?
Yep.
And it's not actually that high in calories. Obviously, it's not the best thing in the world, but it's not like the sweet popcorn in the cinema is much worse, or like toffee popcorn is much worse. So £1. I mean, if you got a popcorn in the cinema, you'd be paying like probably near £5.
I think a small drink and a medium popcorn's like £8 on special.
It's ridiculous. So yeah, we may pay the cinema tickets, but we never pay to get stuff out of the cinema. If they made it more affordable, we would. You know, you would if you were maybe only paying £1 more, but if you're paying 5 times more, you're not going to do it. So yes, we're talking about next door. Darren was having a bit of a chat with the lad. Was he wearing a Rammstein shirt? Is that how it came up?
No, I just asked him what he was into.
Oh right, okay. So we're talking about Rammstein. Rammstein, if you're not aware, is a German industrial metal band. Me and Darren really like them. Isaac likes what he's heard of them. But the singer has been in the midst of a bit of a controversy, akin to like, not exactly like Marilyn Manson, because Marilyn Manson's more been accused of cruelty and violence. This guy is sort of like very
extreme misogyny, right?
You know, he's a misogynist. He thinks women are there for his benefit. He has a woman basically find girls for the front row, and you're not allowed to be in the front row unless you're a really pretty girl.
It's called row zero.
Row zero, and basically if you're asked to be in that row, you have to be willing mid-concert to like, it's not backstage, does he go like
under the stage? Under the stage. There's a special room.
Basically, he's expecting these women to sleep with him or whatever else he wants. And someone has come forward to the press and told the situation and told what's happening. And she's from our hometown, which is not a big place, it's Ballymena. And I think other people came forward and said, yeah, this is what's happening. So there's a bit of a controversy happening with Rammstein at the minute. And
she thought it was a fan zone.
She thought she was picked to be in a fan zone, and that wasn't.
She found herself under the stage, and he walked in, and she said to him, "Hope you're not expecting to have sex with me." He apparently got really angry. He didn't touch her, didn't abuse her, but got really angry.
I was told that you would.
And yes, somewhat along those lines. And then she started feeling a bit off. She felt like she'd been drugged and exploded. She found herself covered in bruises.
Right. So anyway, massive controversy. But this lad knows the girl that has. He's of more her age range. So like if you're from somewhere, you usually know most people in the metal rock scene of a similar age to yourself. Obviously, me and Darren are old enough to be their parents. But
we're the fuckers.
Yeah. But yeah, so he's into rock and metal. That's good. He seems really friendly. The daughter, I haven't spoken to. I've seen her come and go. She's like very pretty, long blonde hair. Live a lot of cars. The son drives one of those Subarus, is it? Subaru Impreza, like all beefed up, that looks ridiculous, and I'm really shocked that a lad into rock is bothered, because most lads aren't about that kind of thing. With a big, like, what's that thing? Is it a spoiler it's called on the back? It's like, oh, it's ridiculous.
If it was in Bradford, it'd be delivering Domino's.
Did you say something, Isaac? I thought you said mum. I've seen a little sports car there. I think that was someone visiting, and the mum drives like a bigger silver car, and there's another one.
There's a Range Rover. It's
just all these cars coming and going. But yeah, they seem nice enough. So it started to rain, and the sky is black. So we don't have any plans for the rest of the week. I'll be going in tomorrow. was because Tuesday, which is the day I'd normally take my mum downtown, social worker was in the whole time. So I said, right, I'll come in on Friday and take you out. The weather forecast for tomorrow isn't just rain, it is extremely heavy rain. So I don't know what's going to happen.
Gonna get wet.
Well, she won't go out if it's raining, so I'm going to be sat in the house listening to complaining for a couple of hours. It's like, oh. But aside from that, Jiu-Jitsu's now off for 2 weeks. I noticed, Isaac, one of the badges is coming off your gi.
Is it?
Nobody told me. One of the ones on the arm is coming off. So we need to. Oh, and Isaac's braces last night. He obviously does his own teeth, but every few days I'm like, right, I want to go up and I want to do these really like fastidiously to make sure you're brushing your teeth correctly. And last night when I was doing them, I noticed at the back, I've had no response to that email yet, but they might be off today. At the back, there's like a wire that's not joined to anything, so I think one of the little brackets, or whatever those things are called that go on your teeth, I think one has broken off when he's been eating and he swallowed it, because he has no, nothing, he wasn't aware that anything had happened. So I've sent a photograph to the dentist, but because it's the 13th of July, yesterday was the 12th of July, I'm not going to go into politics as to what that means. Basically, loads of orange men marching all over the country. It's considered a bank holiday here, and people generally get to, retail it doesn't apply to, although most shops are shut on the 12th. But 12th and 13th, a lot of businesses are closed. Like, things like you won't get a doctor's appointment, won't get to the bank, anything official. So I'm thinking the dentist is probably shut today. So if they haven't replied by tomorrow, we'll phone them. And so, because we don't know if we need to get him in to get it fixed, or if it's something that can wait until he's got his second appointment in the first week in August, which will be 3 weeks. So I don't know what the situation is. I know from reading the leaflet that we got at the start, if you break your braces, they'll fix them free of charge once. But if you keep breaking them, it's not going to go down well, and you'll have to pay for them. And I dread to think how much that'll cost in a private dentist. So, but the thing is, it hasn't been rough with him. He's basically just been eating, and something has, and he hasn't had anything like sticky, because he's like avoided stuff like if chocolate's got caramel in it or marshmallowy sticky stuff. Yeah, like anything like chewy and sticky he hasn't had. So it's just one of those things. We think a little bit's just come off and he hasn't been aware of it. So we'll see. But no more news. I will update you about the social worker appointment, like from home when I'm not driving. I'm looking forward to seeing this film. It's supposed to be very good. I'm hoping Isaac doesn't get bored to tears. The only other thing in the cinema at the minute is Insidious Red Door, which I have not heard any good reviews for. And that Teenage Kraken animation, which is mostly for girls. And that No Hard Feelings with Jennifer... What's her out of Hunger Games? Jennifer... Yeah. And everybody has said she's really good in it. Her performance is good, but the film just isn't. The whole concept of that film is just like, what? Why would you want to watch that? It's called No Hard Feelings, no interest at all. So after today, the next one coming that I want to see is, there's something that starts next weekend, and I can't remember what it is. I'm torn about the Barbie movie. I don't really have any interest in watching it. I know Isaac won't want to see it, and I know Darren won't want to see it. But whether I watch it will be very much down to people that have been to see it and what they say. But I know a lot of people are really excited about it, and a lot of those are men, which maybe because Margot Robbie's in it, that's got something to do with it. But it looks awful. It looks like everything I hate about like supposed femininity. It's like, hi Barbie, and all this flipping pink everywhere. It's like,
there has to be a really dark twist to it. So
I don't know, but Will Ferrell's in it. And I mean, why would Will Ferrell be in it if it was naff? You know what I mean?
Funny if the dark twist was like a child comes and just destroys them all and rips them.
No, Isaac, we're not going to have an
when about Talking Dog starts?
A talking dog?
I think like
There's one
Ryan
called
Reynolds.
Strays.
Is it? Yeah.
I don't know when that starts, but there was another big one that I think is coming next week, and I cannot remember what it is. It's not coming to me at all. No, it's not occurring to me. So yeah, we go to see most things unless we've no interest or it looks terrible. Oppenheimer will be coming soon, which looks quite interesting, but I don't think that's one for Isaac. It would just bore a child. I must remember tomorrow to go the other way into my mum's because there's a funeral of someone who's like really young. I don't know what age they are, but their photograph was on the funeral. You know, the thing comes up on Facebook, recent deaths. 1:30 from, you know, the funeral home around the corner from my mum. So that would coincide nicely with when I would be driving past. And if you get stuck, a funeral for someone that young, I would say he's maybe mid-30s. So I can imagine it's going to be a big funeral, and I don't know what traditions are like for funerals in other places, but here it's very much, you know, if the coffin's there and people are walking with it, you're supposed to stop your car. You're not really supposed to be driving past. You stop your car until the people have walked past and the coffin has passed. I don't know if that's the same. Is that the same in England? Or I've never seen people carry a coffin in England, really.
Unless it's really local, that wasn't ours.
Well, here there's like a chapel, and then the cemetery is, without carrying anything, the cemetery's like a brisk 5-minute walk. Carrying a coffin, I dread to think.
It's 10-15 minutes at least when they're walking the coffin, at
So
least.
they tend to walk from the chapel to the cemetery, but this funeral isn't in a chapel. It's in the cemetery. It's in the funeral home, and then I think he's been buried in Bali, which means it will be in a hearse. But that little dog. See people that just walking dogs to the side of a road, and they don't make sure the dog's on the inside.
They have an extra long lead on full. It's like no.
So yeah, I've waffled too much as always. I shall go. We'll let you know what the movie was like. I'm expecting we'll all enjoy it. I'm looking forward to seeing that stunt. It's 13. He had to do it 13 times to get all the different camera angles for it, and he had to train for over a year in the both. There's base jumping and there's another one, and he trained for a lot, because I'm like, surely this isn't. He hasn't done that. When I saw the trailer, I thought there's no way they're going to have allowed him to do that. So I looked it up, and it is him, and he did do it. It's like, that guy's going to kill himself one of these days. So I'll get round this roundabout and then I'll switch you off, and let you know. Look, stupid old, is that old woman or an old man? I can't tell. It looks a bit like Penfold. Right, I shall check in with you guys later. Oh, so we've been to the cinema and we've seen Mission Impossible, and I've actually done a review for my main channel. So if you want to know more of all our individual thoughts, I will link it at the end of this video. You've probably already seen it by now, because it'll take me ages for this to go up. We all really liked it. Me and Isaac were similar sort of scoring, 4.5 out of 5 kind of thing. Durham is a 4 out of 5. We all really liked it, so recommend that you go check that out. I'm looking forward to seeing part 2. What else to tell you? We're stopping off at Chinese because it's quite late and I don't want to go home and have to start cooking, so we're going to do that. Now Isaac's not happy because he's meant to be meeting someone, not a girl or anything. He'd arranged to like play on one of his systems with someone, and it's like, Christ, like, you've just been to see a really good movie, we're getting Chinese, but I'm supposed to be online at this time. So next time I'll go see it myself and leave Isaac at home playing his computers. What I put on to talk to you was that the meeting yesterday. I thought I'll tell you when I get home, but because we're sat here waiting, I'll tell you now. So this bloody thing. So the social worker came yesterday. It wasn't yesterday, it was the day before. And sort of like, it seems now that they want to discuss any other option but residential care for someone. To give you an idea of my mum's situation, I think I've told you before, she needs bringing to the bathroom. It's getting to the stage she struggles to feed herself. The only thing really she can eat herself is like toast, something that she can hold in her hand. You know, a knife and fork is a no-no. Anything like soup, just completely forget it. She's struggling to drink. She's got like specially adapted cups and stuff I've bought her with. They're like baby beakers really, but they've got a cone inside so that the liquid is easier to, because she can't tip up properly. So she needs everything doing for her. And the reason I was concerned, I think I'd said before, is my dad's been in bed until nearly tea time every day. But they kept going over every other eventuality apart from. My dad was there, but basically didn't say anything the whole time. All he said was he wants to keep her at home as long as possible. And I'm thinking, but you're in bed all day? And I'm sitting constantly panicking, and she's sitting constantly phoning me. But I said to the social worker woman, the problem is that I said my mum needs to go to the bathroom approximately every hour, and I said sometimes more, and the carers come 4 times a day. I said she will wake my dad up out of his sleep in like 6 o'clock in the morning, you know, an hour later, all the time to take her to the bathroom. And I said it's got to the point he's lifting her, and I said he's not. Oh, well, you know, there's not much you can do about that. I've told Kathleen he shouldn't be lifting her, and I've told her that she shouldn't be asking him. I said, but that's not going to stop her doing it. And I says, that's not going to stop him doing it. And she says, well, that's their decision. It's, you know, that's something that they're risking. And I said, you know, it's not just that. I said, you know, my dad will get my mum something. I said, his arse won't have touched the seat. And I used that exact expression. I says, my dad's arse will not have touched the seat. He'll just have sat down, and she'll be like, can you get me this? Can you do this? Can you do that? And this woman, like, she was saying to my mum, look, you know, you do have to make sacrifices. A lot of people that we see make a lot of sacrifices in order to stay at home, like they will use pads when they need to go to the toilet, and the carers will come and change them or whatever. And I says, but my mum won't do that. And she says, oh, I accept it's a really hard thing to do if you're continent. And I says, my dad won't let her do it. I says, she'll always ask and he'll always do it. And she says, well, unfortunately, there's nothing we can do about that. That's their decision. And I'm thinking, yeah, but you're not the one that has to pick up the pieces when the shit hits the fan. And that's not the right expression when I'm talking about continence. But after the whole meeting, and we discussed a lot of stuff, the woman had gone 10 minutes, and my mum said to my dad, can you take me to the toilet? And I said to my mum, the carers are literally due within the next 20 minutes. But he still took her. And he hadn't brought her back out and put her in the seat yet that the carers arrived. And I'm like, well, in that situation, why can't you wait? But they won't listen. And he's going to either drop her or put his back out, or something horrible is going to happen. I'm going to get the phone call. And the social worker, to me, just seems to be wanting to do a paperwork exercise. They've said my mum won't qualify for continuing healthcare, which means she'll have to pay for her own care, which is a lot of money. She's not allowed to pay for it herself. They also don't include the house if someone's still resident there, but that's the only real money my parents have, and I've got enough all. But basically what it's boiled down to, the end result is, after a lot of talking and me trying to get through to my mum and speak to her, is she said to the woman, said, have you any other questions? And my mum's like, well, if I went into a care home, would I be able to get out again? And I'm trying not to go, oh, she doesn't comprehend that her MS isn't going to improve, her situation isn't going to improve, my dad's not coping, which of course he won't admit. They just want to continue like it is. So I've managed to sort of put it around that she's going to take, if possible, 2 months in a residential home, stick it. And my dad says there's no way she won't stick it. I says, well, she has to stick it this time. I said, I will not be getting her out. And I said, you have to promise not to either. I said, she won't like it to start with. It's going to take at least a couple of weeks for her to settle in. I said, but she needs to do this for you and for herself. And, you know, at the end of it, if she's had a half reasonable experience, then it won't be such a scary prospect in the future when there's no option. Or she might decide she wants to stay, which I doubt. But so she's said to me to speak to the social worker and say that's what she wants to do, a 2-month placement in a care home. And then when she gets out next year, there's an MS hospital in Ballycastle, which is quite a drive. It's where we got the ferry to Rathlin. It's about an hour away. And they have an MS hospital where you have like your own private room, but it's more like a hospital setting, but they do have communal rooms. Darren's coming back. So they actually, you can book an advance respite in like usually 2-week bursts, and she said she thinks that they have like maybe up to 6 to 8 weeks in the year. So the plan is 2 months in a residential care home setting, and if she, when, because she won't decide to stay, when she comes out, scheduled respite of 2-week chunks throughout the year, so that my dad has that coming up and he knows, right, I've got that 2 weeks coming up, and when that's over he knows, right, in a couple of months I've got 2 weeks coming up. So that's the plan, that's the compromise. It's just really frustrating. Like, did you see the look on my face when she said to my mum, have you got any questions? And my mum said, if I go into a care home, will I ever get out? Did you see the expression on my face? It's like, why can't you not understand why we're looking at a care home? It's not. It's because that's what the level of care she needs.
It's not punishment, it's about her own health.
But, you know, that's the compromise, and it's better than nothing.
Plus, when this starts, we'll get all the work guys in and get everything done in the times when she's at the house.
Well, I don't know. We'll see. We'll look into that as well. They talked about her getting work done that meant having their heating system overhauled. To give you an idea, my mum's heating system is over. It was put in when I was a child in single digits. It's over 40 years old.
If you want hot water, you've got to have heating.
Yeah, you have to put the heat on to have hot water, and you can't set a timer or anything.
There's no thermostat for radiators, it's full on.
And she said, look, you know, something can be put in when the heat falls below a certain temperature, it automatically comes on. And I said, I've tried to arrange this with my mum, I said, but she doesn't want the upheaval. She tried to make out, when the woman said to her, well, why wouldn't you want this, Kathleen? Oh, well, there's strange men coming in and I have to get to the toilet. She didn't want it before that was an issue, before there was carers, she's never wanted it, so that was just not a truth. And the social worker's like, oh, well, yeah, I would understand that, but maybe we could get something sorted so that the work's done when you're not here. And then I know my dad won't want it, because he won't want people in wandering through the house. So it's just, it's like my brain, and I'm not saying this for financial reasons, but if I owned my own house, and that was the only thing that I had to hand to my child, I would want to do what I can. And don't forget, my mum gets a grant to have this done. I didn't say it. I wouldn't be able to get this done. I wouldn't be entitled to it, but my mum would. And she could get the heating system, which needs doing, done for free. She could get the windows replaced for free.
Kitchen replaced.
But they're just leaving it, and basically, I would say that house in relation to the other, and it's not worth a lot of money, it's maybe worth just over £100,000. So it's not like you could sell it and get a house somewhere else, because it's a council house, it's terraced. But the condition their house is in, it's probably only worth about 80. And she could have this stuff done for herself, and then the house would be worth more money, but they just won't do it. And my like, common sense brain doesn't understand. There's somebody walking alongside this bloody road, a girl on her own, talking into a mobile with a big grin on her face. So yeah, I wasn't going to talk and drive, so I'll switch off. That's the situation with the social worker. So I'm going to give her a call tomorrow and say, look, can we look at 2 months residential care, and when she comes out we want to be looking at 2 weeks scheduled every few months next year of that Dalriada. So that's the plan.
And then I suppose the benefit of doing that is, if anything else is needed, there's literally no argument, because everything has been tried. Everything.
Yeah. So I'll check in with you tomorrow probably, or another day. There's not much. I'm going in tomorrow to see if I can take my mum downtown. I can't see it happening because it's going to rain. I have to change her audiobooks, and I have a couple of birthday cards to pick up. And yeah, that is it for the moment. I shall speak to you later. Hello folks. It is, look at me in my cagoule, my raincoat. It is Friday, and I'm on my way into my mum's for an extra visit. Can you hear the weather? The plan was to go in. There's the most gorgeous dog, I can't even tell you, in the car. All the windows are open, don't worry. Oh, it's beautiful. Can you see out here is there? You probably can't see. He's like a collie, but he's got the markings of one of those Australian cattle dogs, which I absolutely love. It's such beautiful colour, and I really wanted to go over and pat him, but I didn't want to be too rude. He's in a car on the driveway, and I noticed it because the windows were open, and I thought, oh my god, their car's going to get soaked. The windows are open, but then I looked and I saw the dog. Beautiful dog. So yeah, I was meant to be going in to take my mum downtown because she didn't get out on Tuesday, and it's looking unlikely. Nothing much else to tell you about today apart from the fact it's rained every day now for 2 weeks. After us going 4 weeks with no rain, now we've had 2 weeks with rain every single day. More like Ireland. I'm just bummed that it's today and I can't get a chance to take my mum out, and maybe we'll get a little dry period and I might get her out, we shall see. But I shall check in with you guys later on. If I can take any sneaky footage today, I will. I'm very aware, guys, that these vlogs are me talking in the car, and I wish that were different. But generally, the rest of the time, believe it or not, I'm busy and I'm doing stuff and I don't have time to vlog. The only time I really vlog is when I'm in the car going somewhere. Unless you want me to vlog me watching TV on an evening, that would be exciting stuff, guys. I don't go an awful lot of places, but I have done the Rathlin video and I did the little Belfast one, and I will have 2 weeks of Florida vlogs, although they will take much longer to do because there's just going to be so much, and I'm not going to be doing any editing when I'm on holiday, absolutely not, so they will come that little bit later, but that should be something different for Disney vlogs. I will speak to you later. Just reached Ballymena. I'm going to play some of this song for you. It's called Lighthouse by Future Islands, and it is the main song from the movie Titan. And I absolutely love it, so I'll play you a little bit of this. You can hear some rain along with it for ambiance.
I've seen the way that the
guys. I do apologise. That's because of the window wipers. Right, I'm at the library. I'm going in to change these audiobooks. Fucking pissing it down shit. Ah! Right, that's interesting viewing, isn't it, guys? Alright, just coming out of this place now. I'll switch you around in a bit. I'll just let you have forward view for now. I'm in the car park at a different shopping centre than I usually go in. I had to stop off because I've 2 people's birthdays in the next 2 weeks. To pick up a couple of cards. That is impossible to get around, honestly. Right, let me get through this and then I'll I'm gonna have to go down to the bottom of this the wrong way. Fabulous. I should have turned it around so you could see me trying to... Right, there's 2 things. Right, there are 2 barriers. One other person had to sit and park right up my arse, even though the barrier beside me was completely empty. So why not go to the one beside me? I'm trying to get parked close enough to the bloody thing, you know what it's like. Right, let me get round this roundabout. Have to go back on myself. Round we go, round and round the road. Look at this in front of me now. It's like a meadow, flowers that were planted just for like bugs and stuff. I think it's so pretty. Just all wildflowers. So what can I tell you about today? It's done this since the minute I left the house. It's still doing this, raining. So I couldn't take my mum out anywhere. Found out last night the carers I found out today that yesterday morning the carers give her tablets in the morning. The carers gave her nighttime tablets in the morning. So the tablet, they're all like in a blister pack, labelled morning, nighttime, sealed, and it says morning and it's green, and the nighttime one says night and it's like a really dark blue, like a night sky. So they gave her a ton of sleeping tablets, muscle relaxants, all of the stuff that she takes at night to like wind down. So she had no tablets to go to bed last night, and all yesterday my dad said she sat in the chair like a zombie all day and she couldn't speak hardly, she was mumbling. And he didn't think to pick up the phone and phone the carers and say, look, I didn't phone to shout, I phoned to say, look, can you reiterate to your carers to be super careful about what they're giving out, because she was given the tablets for nighttime in the morning. The person, they said, oh, you need to speak to the area manager because it's a tablet issue, a medication issue. And then she said the name of the manager that I know's left. I'll get her to give you a call back as soon as possible. That was over an hour ago. No phone call back yet. But I mean, I don't like to tell on people, and I'm not telling on people, you know, like, oh, giving off or anything. I just want them to reiterate to the carers that they must be super careful when they're checking people's medication. So we sat in. I have to go in again on Monday. This is Friday. I'm in on Sunday anyway, as I always am, so tomorrow's the only day I'm not in. The social worker's coming again on Monday to get signatures for the paperwork for her to look into the 2-week respite. So we'll see what happens there. Don't know how long that'll take to come back. So just heading home now. It's such crap weather. I'm really annoyed, like when I have a day that's really full and I don't get a chance to do my Rockfit, and this sounds ridiculous, me wanting to exercise, but I do because I don't want to put the weight I've lost back on again, and I still want to get 2 stone off, which is 28 pounds if you don't work in stones. I don't know what it is in kilos. When I go home I'll be having my dinner. It's like almost 5, so I'll be having my dinner, and then you can't really exercise for a couple of hours. And last night when I tried to exercise before I went to bed, I came over really weird and funny and wasn't able to. I don't like missing. You know, yesterday I only did 20 minutes before I had to stop because I wasn't feeling well. And that's like about a third of what I should be doing. I didn't get any done the day before. I can't remember why. Something to do with being in my mum's that day as well. It's probably the social worker day. So, I need to like not be missing these. If you're sort of like living at home on your own, you can sort of like eat when you want, and I could put off eating until way later on. But when you're eating with a family, you kind of have to like. Darren's absolutely starving by like 4 o'clock, and he wants to eat ideally at like 5, whereas I don't really want to be eating until like 6. So we usually eat between 5 and past. So that means I can't exercise until at least gone 7:30, 8 o'clock. And when it gets to that time of night, that's my video game playing slot. I have like an hour and a half where I get to play video games, and that would take it away, and that's like my relaxed time. So we need to get the old exercise fitted in, and we're going to put the weight all back on, guys. But it's the first exercise I've ever done that I've enjoyed. I think because I've always loved to dance a lot when I was younger, when I was fit. It's just always been a joy for me to dance, and I haven't got to do that in a long time, in a lot of years. The occasional trip to a rock club, like as I've been older, but even then I haven't really been able to dance the same way I could when I was younger. And this is like all choreographed dance routines with some like Keep Fit aerobics incorporated. It's both. It sort of builds resistance and core strength from the inside. And I notice like the main place I've lost weight is my legs. and the top of my arms aren't as big as they were. Probably only me would notice, but I can feel like my legs don't feel as, they feel more toned, they don't feel as flabby, fat. They're still fat legs. I don't have skinny legs, but you know, they feel a lot more toned than they did. So we're getting there, folks, we are getting there. Oh, loads of flying water on the road. But yeah, I have to squeeze in this Cape Fit this evening. Rockfit. I recommended it. There's someone I know on Facebook. I've met her, I think, twice, very briefly. She's really into her rock music and she's massively into her fitness. And I know they've got loads of these Rockfit classes in England that you can go to. And I would love to go to one, but there's none in Ireland yet. Basically, it's going to take someone local in Northern Ireland that loves the idea and is fit enough to sign up to be an instructor. And unfortunately, I'm not that person because I'm not fit enough. But I would love to be able to go to a live class. These are all online classes. I'd love to go to a live class, and there's like a massive social aspect where you meet other people that like similar stuff to you. So I said to her, have you ever heard of this? I think you'd really enjoy it. And put in a link to the Facebook page because she would be able to go. She loves to dance. She's massively into her rock music. She's massively into fitness. I thought it would be perfect for her. And all she did was like, she replied to the comment, but she linked her gym. It's like she's taken offence that I've recommended something to her when she already goes to a gym. And it's like, yeah, you can go to the gym, but you can do this as well. It's like, I don't know. So I just didn't reply. I felt like saying it's a bit of a long way for me to go. I mean, why are you linking me your gym? You live in Nottingham, I live in Northern Ireland. But anybody I know that kind of likes exercise, I recommend it to, that likes rock music. Desperately would love someone over here to take it up and teach the classes so I can go. But chances are, if anyone does, it'll be in Belfast, and that's, you know, a long way to go to a fitness class. Oh, if only I didn't have this bloody fibro, I could get myself fit enough to do one of the classes. I've been really enjoying it though on a fitness level, although I'm still by no means fit. My fitness levels have improved dramatically. When I started, I could only do, the videos are split into two videos. The first one's like about 25-26 minutes, the second one's maybe 20 minutes or 25. And I was only managing one video, like 25 minutes, half an hour when I started, and that killed me, but now I'm easily managing both videos. On some days, on occasional days, I maybe have to leave one song out if I'm knackered, and if it's specifically, like they had a song by Green Day, and they had another song by Dave Grohl, Foo Fighters. The Foo Fighters one was Monkey Wrench, and what was the Green Day one? I can't remember. But they were both really fast tracks and really energetic, and they take a lot out of you, so occasionally I'll maybe drop one track if I'm really struggling. But I'm discovering all this new music. I knew of a band called The Who, I think it's HUW, they're Mongolian, and they released a song, it was something to do with women, and it had a load of female rock singers singing on it. But I've heard a lot more of their stuff now since starting Rockfit, because they've used some of their songs and I love their stuff. It's quite cool. And I discovered, well, I didn't really discover them. When I went to see Iron Maiden, early, was it this year or last year? Must have been last year. Shinedown were supporting them along with a couple of other bands. And when I saw I knew nothing about Shinedown, and I thought, oh, I really like these guys. And I went home and I downloaded like an Essentials album of theirs, which has got all of their best known stuff. And I listened to it a little bit, but then they've used several of their tracks in Rockfit, so it's like getting to hear more of the stuff. And I really liking a lot. Some of their stuff's a little bit too mellow for me, a little bit too poppy. Some of the stuff's a little bit Imagine Dragonsy, and I like some of it, and others is a little bit too light. But it's just good getting to know all this new stuff that I'd never heard before. They put in the Cha 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 song from the Eurovision that's really funny.
And it's back because you keep asking for it. Stop asking for it. Side step. 4 here. Forward and back. Little cha-cha step. 4, 3, 2, 1. Forward and back. Do it some face. Reach across. Step. Okay, box step. Get stuck through the legs. Box step. Train. Bring it to me. 2. To the side. This is so cheesy. And you keep making me do it. Hit.
And they're doing, this is like July is what they call feel good month, and they're putting all like happy tracks in. This week they had Poison, Talk Dirty to Me, and it's called Battleship Chains. What was it? You got me tied down in Battleship. That one. 50 along with the 2 tied anchor. Dan Baird, is that it? That's the guy that sings with it. I can't remember the band. And Queen, Don't Stop Me Now, and Shine Down. But it's really good. They're going to be doing one. They do an alternative month where it's things that are at the cusp of rock music but maybe don't particularly fit in. So like The Prodigy is an example of one band that will be used, and they're going to put some Electric Callboy in, which I'm really looking forward to because I really like them. They've got like a real sort of techno rock sound, so it's like techno disco with metal in. So I'm looking forward to that track. I think they're doing that in August potentially. Can't remember exactly. But it's cool. I love it. I can't recommend it enough if you're in the UK. Rockfit online. So I'm almost home. It's still pissing it down. I've still talked crap all the way home. I shall go and listen to a little bit of Jolyn Turner, the song Dreaming, which he did with Yngwie Malmsteen. Yngwie Malmsteen is a guitarist and he's got an ego the size of the globe. But Jolyn Turner, after Freddie, there will never be another Freddie Mercury. After Freddie, Jolyn Turner is my favourite vocalist. I absolutely love him. I think his vocals beautiful. So I'm going to go listen to like half a song before I get home. I will check in with you guys maybe tomorrow. Hello guys, it is Sunday. It really annoys me. See like little like crumbs and stuff around the steering wheel. Not steering wheel, that's the steering wheel. Around the gear stick. It is Sunday. I'm just about to go into my mum's. Social worker called Darren this morning to apologise for phoning on a Sunday as he got his bag with him. Yep. My Red Dead t-shirt. Arthur. The guy that voices Arthur's going to be at the Comic-Con that we're going to in September, and the guy that voices Dutch, thank you. That's a bad guy. And one of the women, I think Ellie her name is. It would be the woman's name in this is Ellie as well. I'm hoping if he was to show up in his cowboy outfit, I would probably pay for a picture, but if not, I wouldn't. Because, to explain, Arthur, the character in Red Dead, who is that guy with a hat there, his physical appearance is based on the guy that does his voice. So the guy that does his voice looks just like the character, so it would be like having your photo with the main character in my favourite ever game. So yeah, we've given more thought to the mum residential home situation. I wish I haven't discussed it with Darren. I was going to talk to him about it this morning, but unbeknown to me, the social worker phoned him first thing this morning, apologised for phoning on a Sunday and says, look, I'm going to have to knock the meeting time back. Oh, you hear it?
Yep, felt it as well.
Knock the meeting time back from, and it's not cold and it's not icy, so no excuse, from 2 till 3. Hopefully she's not going to pee because I asked my cousin. My dad's brother Joe had MS. He's passed away now a couple of years back. He hasn't had it anywhere near as long as my mum has, but every so often, every like couple of times a year, he would go and have a couple of weeks at a MS specialist unit called Dalriada Hospital in Ballycastle. which is specifically for MS. We didn't know if it would be like a stay in a normal hospital or what the situation was, but my cousin came back to me and said they all eat in a communal room. There's a communal room with TV. They arranged little activities for them, you know, and it was always really well looked after. So I was sitting thinking about it, plus I sat and looked into if she was to go into a residential home for a couple of months, they stop her benefits. Now, because my mum's on PIP, and I know how difficult it is to get PIP, even if there's been people comatose that have had issues, and to me, thinking about the whole situation through getting PIP again, what's the delay going to be? PIP is like something you get if you're disabled, and they send assessors out to check you, and they even sent assessors out to check my mum, who can do nothing for herself. There's been people like very ill with cancer, and I mean terminal cancer, that have been declined. They're that harsh. So they would stop benefits. Also, they said, now this wasn't told to my parents, she mentioned this to Darren recently, not the PIP thing, but this, she said, situation is with being in a care home, when she's due to come out after the couple of months, the care team that come to see her at home might not have a space, and she may not even get that care team back. It may be a completely different company that may be worse. They may have different rules and regulations, everything, like, you know, there'd have to be the assessment again for the whatever she was using to go to the toilet. We don't know how long that would take. There would have to be the thing put forward so they give her medication again. It's just a lot. And then they do all this stuff where you have to provide proof of all your finances, and you have to provide proof that you're a homeowner, proof that every single bill that you pay. Now, my dad's a nightmare. He chucks stuff in the bin, he doesn't open stuff. I've bought him a lever arch file, loads of Polly Pockets, set it all up for him. I've told him you need to keep stuff for like at least 6 months, maybe a year, and then you can like purge the old stuff, but always keep your bills and your bank statements. But I may as well talk to myself. So getting all that done right now, I can't see my dad having all the information, and then he gets his back up because people are looking into his personal finances, and he's not the one that asked for the care home in the first place. So what, after thinking about it over a couple of nights in bed, because that's what I do, my mind just wanders, I think the best option is actually for her to put her name down for Dalriada. Then we know exactly when she's going, and then every few months there can be a couple of weeks arranged. I think she said that it's like 56 days a year? Well, we'll say it's 6 weeks, but that means like every 4 months. My mum can have 2 weeks, so my dad can have 3 periods of a fortnight every year. See how that goes. If then there's still issues, then look at the nursing home thing, because it's less disruptive. That's what I'm thinking. I'm going to speak to my mum about it today. And then the social worker's due out tomorrow. We had the last meeting on Thursday. Was it Thursday? No, it wasn't. It was Tuesday. But then she was off the following day. I'm just hoping she hasn't done any work for the other thing yet, because she's going to be well peeved if she has. But, you know, sometimes you need time. Plus she gave me this big thick tomes of paper to read about the situation if you go in a care home and what happens, and obviously it's taken me a while to get through, you know, they're quite weighty, and in this I read all the stuff about everything that needs to be provided. And I mean, the money that would be paying for my mum will be coming out of her money, but it's a legal requirement that it's not allowed to come out of her money, and somebody, either me or my dad, and it wouldn't be me, would have to sign a legally binding contract with the trust to say that they will be liable to pay for my mum's care. So when the money runs out, then what happens? You've signed something legally binding, and it's just a lot, you know, it's a lot to take on board, from nothing to all of that. So I'm thinking, when all of that's being done, it's probably going to make more sense for it to be a permanent move rather than risking everything, carers coming in, you know, getting the carers back, our benefit, all of this stuff we need to get proof of. If the 2 weeks every few months would be sufficient, then we should do that. That was what I was thinking. So I'll discuss it with her today. I have a feeling that she'll prefer that idea. Even though if she's in Ballycastle, the most visit from me she's going to get in a week is 1, because I'm not traipsing up and down to Ballycastle constantly.
Couldn't afford the petrol.
Well, I mean, it's a ways. So, and the whole point is, it's like, I remember my mum talking to the social worker about respite before, and her question was, and she was only supposed to be going away for like a week. Well, I want to be somewhere where they can visit. And the social worker said to me, Mum, Kathleen, you need to appreciate the reason you're going for respite is so that your carers can get a break and not be thinking about it for, you know, go and just do them for a week. Oh, it's like, Jesus Christ. But we've gone down to an almost stop because someone had to turn a corner. I don't understand why people have to stop dead in the middle of a road to turn a corner. What is that? That's one of them. Remember I told you them really big sheep that look like small cows? I don't know what they are. They're not a normal sheep. They're really muscular. And they're not woolly. And they've probably been sheared. But they're really muscular and they look like small cows. I've never seen anything like them. I've only ever seen them there. So yeah, that's what's happening at the minute. Can't think of anything of any note to tell you other than that. Isaac will probably be going out for the day next Saturday with Ruben. His mum texted me last night. Robert's mum texted. I mean, Robert's mum, his birthday, his 13th birthday, so he's become a teenager. And his 13th birthday was on Friday. And I know his mum wasn't working because the school's closed and she cleans the school. And she texted on Friday night, quite late, myself, Ruben's mum, and another wee lad's mum, 3 of them, to say, oh, I'm really behind it this year. This happens every year. Robert hasn't decided yet what he wants to do for his birthday, but he wants Isaac, Ruben and Callum there. And it's like, well, what was the point of the message? You're not telling people when it is.
What it is.
What it is.
Where, yeah.
Well, you know, if we're free, we don't know because we've no idea where it's going to be. So she's texted us to say that. So I have no idea. But then Ruben's mum had texted me to say, this was after that, yesterday. Oh, we're looking at a day out with Isaac next weekend. I'll assume it's going to be the Saturday. And I thought to myself, should I say, well, I don't know what Robert's mum's planning. She might put, and then I thought, well, no, because why should we not do something because somebody else might plan something on that day? They might not plan anything for a month. We don't know. I remember last time it was well after his birthday. It was weeks after his birthday that they did anything.
They got told.
But
do you want to come up with an hour for ice cream?
Oh yeah, one year it was, do you want it? And Isaac actually, that was I'll tell you, I know when that was. It was in August because Isaac didn't go up because he had been in contact with Higgins next door, and there was the potential, he had been in contact with someone that had COVID, and I'm not even going to get into that. I did last year, if you watched my vlog, or the year before, whenever it was. But they're getting to an age now where it's like, your typical birthday party thing is like a bit lame when you're a teenager. I let Isaac pick for his birthday this year and he picked going to VR. Now that's expensive, so I said you can only bring one person. And he took Ruben, but that's what he did for his birthday this year. So anyway, I'll be at my mum's in a few minutes. I shall sign off now. There's nothing else that either of you could think about that's of any note. I think I mentioned that Isaac's mates Daniel's parents are taking him to a gaming convention on the 29th of July. It's in Ballymena. It's where they bring like these big buses that are decked out. It's like gaming buses, but then in the building there'll be stuff as well, I would imagine. It's a gaming convention, so he's going to that on the 29th. But that is all for now. We will be going to Florida in, what date are we? I think it's a month. I don't know what date it is, but it's the 16th of August that we go. Is it? So it's exactly a month today we shall be off to Florida. Let's hope nothing happens between now and then to get in the way of my trip. I had my soaring candle on yesterday. Kelly, my friend, bought me a couple of candles a while back. One of them smells just like the ride Soaring. Soaring, like, it's one of these like VR rides where it actually gives you scents of different areas. It's like you're flying over like deserts and Taj Mahal and Eiffel Tower, and there's scents and they're really nice. So it's got the scent of one of those, I think it's the ocean scent. And the other one, the other candle, smells like Pandora in Animal Kingdom. And they do properly smell like it as well. So I had one of those on yesterday because it's like, oh, it's going to be soon, so I can actually, you know, it's sad smelling them when you've just been. It's like, oh, that does smell just like there, I want to go back. But now, obviously, I know I'm going back, so I can get the old sniffer out now. So I'm going to go, that's where it is, Isaac, in there. I shall check in with you guys next week. I'll let you know how the social work meeting goes. Darren has his NHS skin appointment on Tuesday. Molly has a groom on Monday. I will check in with you next week. Over and out from Kate and